You know, it's been a while. Talk about a hectic, mental, draining, relentless, crazy, fun summer with a nice vacation, a live wrestling experience. But I think it's good to be back in the seat to once again share some simple wrestling insight and excite and hype. So why not? Especially since I probably plan on moving the next month. But this virtual background works too. Hello, everybody, and welcome to my simple YouTube channel. My name is Noah Foster, and I am just a simple man and a lifelong fan of wrestling. And I'm here tonight to just give you an ATW Spotlight on this week in pro wrestling. What's to come tonight, what has happened this week, and what's to come. As this is being recorded 6:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday, August the 14th. And of course, shout out to the ATW crew. And we will be back, folks, with an ATW view regarding All Out very, very soon. With that being said, why don't we get ahead and talk about what's ahead? So first off, I gotta say, as we ushered in the era of Rampage, it was an absolute amazing, incredible, electric atmosphere, and what a insane inaugural first show. As we had 3 championship matches headlined by Pittsburgh's own Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, don't forget it, defending the AEW Women's World Championship with a broken wrist, might add, against the Red Velvet. And the opener, of course, was Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage with the Impact World Heavyweight Championship on the line. So let's go ahead and talk about what we saw last night, shall we? As we ushered in the era of Rampage, we witnessed history and an absolutely incredible electric atmosphere of true, pure professional wrestling fandom and enjoyment. As Kenny Omega and Christian Cage kicked off things, there was incredible back and forth action, near falls, including after a ridiculous spear and splash combinations where you thought Christian was going to win this match. Kenny Omega following up though, of course, with V-trigger, Tiger Driver. He could not hit the one-wing angel though, but there was so much good counter wrestling here that you thought that literally either man could win this. It kept you on the edge of your seat. As it looked like Kenny Omega was in a desperate situation after countering a follow-up spear, just ramming a knee directly into Christian's face. The Young Bucks came down as Don Callis distracted the referee and tried to play difference maker, bringing an equalizer, steel chair. Unfortunately, Christian was able to capitalize on this and hit the kill switch to Omega on the chair, protecting the belt collector in defeat. As, ladies and gentlemen, Christian Cage made history and is now the new Impact World Heavyweight Champion, and has made official that he will now defend that title at Emergence against the winner of the number 1 contenders battle royale. For those that saw Impact Wrestling, you know who I'm talking about, the most professional wrestler, Brian Myers. I gotta say, this was an incredibly hot kickoff, and I love the fact that literally now it seems like we're really taking the belt collector thing to a different outlook, and just the elite storyline overall. As Kenny Omega has been draped in gold, representing 3 promotions for the longest time with 4 championship belts. Now he's down to 2. Probably not in the greatest mood considering what he's got to deal with tonight, we'll talk about shortly. But I thought this was a really good opening match and an incredible moment for Christian. To think, one time he had the NWA World Championship back at TNA. Now he is here in 2021 as Impact World Champion. 10 years probably to the day that he left pretty much WWE as a champion. So I gotta say, this was a really good match. Congratulations to Christian Cage, and we'll see him now on Impact Wrestling this coming Thursday. Moving on from there, we had Rampage continue as the Redeemer and Guys Who Champion Miro defended the TNT title against Fuego del Sol in what was definitely an incredibly hot crowd, of course, for Fuego because he is over. But not only was the TNT title on the line here, it was a contract for Fuego to finally be All Elite. In 5 minutes, it seemed like he gave it his all, and with 3 tornado DDTs, getting the crowd behind him, thinking that he could actually do this. It was all for naught as he ate a press kick and angered the Redeemer, and it ended with game over and a contract ripped before him. Or so we thought, because sometimes it's the ones in defeat that are still victorious. As afterwards, we had Sammy Guevara and Tony Khan out for a moment as Tony Khan handed Sammy Guevara something. Sammy came in the ring, one of Fuego's best friends, and says, "You are now All Elite." So congratulations, of course, to the Redeemer Miro continuing to hold his divine gift from God up above, the TNT title, in a very fun, simply presented match. But Fuego, congrats on finally achieving what everybody believed you should be. He's all in and he's fully signed now. I hope it means brighter things from going forward, maybe some more wins too. But this was a really fun moment. What I liked about Rampage, it truly held up to what it was about. More action, less distraction. A couple backstage vignettes, including brief interviews about Red Velvet and Britt Baker coming up in the main event by Mark Henry. And Mark Henry, of course, going backstage, talking with Christian Cage, who feels that this is absolutely incredible. He did it for Impact. He felt like this was deserved. And he said Kenny Omega is probably his toughest opponent ever to date. And now he wonders if he can become the belt collector and beat Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship at All Out. Because, of course, he is number one contender. But anything could change between here and then, folks. We still got a few weeks. As we go into our main event, before that, we have up also next week's episode of Rampage called The First Dance. That will emanate from the United Center in Chicago with more than triple the crowd on hand for Pittsburgh. Man, I can't wait to hear the atmosphere. As Darby Allin and Sting together up in the rafters, thinking about what's ahead next week as Darby Allin calls out the best in the world. Just saying, folks, wait and see. Then we move into our main event. Of course, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, coming into a hero's welcome beyond all belief that pop. Takes on Red Velvet, who came in pretty much into enemy territory, an atmosphere similar to ECW One Night Stand. And Red Velvet put up one hell of a fight. There was tough aggression and counter wrestling by both. Of course, Britt Baker, she came in with a hindered limb, and Red Velvet tried to exploit that, constantly working the arm and pulling off some ridiculous spinning kicks. As Rebel, not Reba, came into play multiple times here. She was ejected from ringside eventually, especially when she got involved during the picture-in-picture, tried to bring the title into play. And this almost allowed Red Velvet to get the win over Britt, who tried locking the lockjaw but couldn't because of the injured wrist, which caused Red Velvet with a roll up to try and lock the lockjaw in herself, and almost did. By the way, earlier, beautiful moonsault. She has incredible agility. A couple good near falls too. It was all for naught though, as the resourceful Dr. Britt Baker reversed the position of the lockjaw that she usually does and used the opposite hand to get the win via tap out, as Dr. Britt Baker continues to be the AEW Women's World Champion, and AEW is DMD. As she went for some added insult to industry, but also a message, dropping Red Velvet with a ridiculous swinging neckbreaker and going for a curb stomp on the title. It was Chris Statlander who came into play, who I believe is almost number one. I think she's number two. And Chris and Britt have never faced her in one-on-one action, as she came to Red Velvet's aid. But Britt Baker slowly alluded to, maybe I need to gain some backup. Well, boy, did she. Talk about a wild return, who's also now all elite. Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter with a brand new look came in to the doctor's aid and allowed her to take out not only Chris Statlander, but the Red Velvet. And we went off the air with Jamie and Britt standing together side by side tall. So it looks like now we might be getting some more women faction warfare coming soon to AEW. You might need to find some friends of your own, Velvet. I know you have a couple. And with that being said, I thought that this was a tremendous way to kick off Friday Night Pro Wrestling, all elite style. And I look forward to continuing the saga from here. If there's one thing I gotta say about Rampage, I think that the commentary was really good. Chris Jericho being the most energetic, Taz bringing in the technical, and of course, Excalibur being play-by-play. It almost feels like Mark Henry was better in the backstage role for / interviewer position. I just think 4 is too many on a commentary position, and Mark Henry maybe is better at the whole, insider type role. But overall, I thought this was a really incredible way to debut a new era in AEW. Friday nights are now ruled by Rampage. And folks, join the ride, feel the hype, get your surge of professional wrestling each Friday night. It was a hell of a good time. As we move on now to tonight, we have 2 incredible pro wrestling shows before us, as we have TripleMania, let me get my Roman numerals right, 29, there we go. And it, of course, will be headlined with 2 incredible matches representing both Impact Wrestling and AEW, as Kenny Omega defends the AAA Omega Championship, again, the cleaner, never gets any rest, against La Sombra, Andrade El Idolo, in a dream match many have been waiting for the last 6 or 5 years, it seems. The thing is, when it comes to the belt collector and defending his titles, you honestly can't have him lose to somebody outside AEW because you have to make him protected at all costs because he is the AEW World Champion. But this is signed AEW talent. Losing to a talent within the company itself, even under different territory, I feel still protects the champion in defeat. And that's why I suddenly think that Andrade El Idolo, especially with Triple trying to get things back up and running again, I think he's going to take this title from Kenny Omega. And I think we're going to strictly focus on Kenny Omega as the AEW World Champion going forward, protecting that at all costs, eventually to what I think is going to be the Hangman finally taking it off him. And that's all I got to say about that. This should be a really incredible match. For those that are wondering how you can watch it, there's going to be like certain Twitch streamers, I believe, that are going to try to show it, but pretty much anywhere outside of Mexico, it's going to be much more of a Google search for you to try and watch it. So try and watch it when you can, either tonight or on demand. I think it's going to be absolutely worth it. Which brings us to our other contest, as the Virtuosa, Deonna Purrazzo, will defend her Impact Knockouts Championship against Fabe Apache, who also will be defending her title. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is a title for title matchup. Oh, man. So let me go ahead and give you a little bit of background here to Fabe Apache for those that don't know AAA. She has actually been involved in Impact Wrestling before during the Mexico tours, including a singles win over Alicia Edwards. And she was actually involved in the very first AEW All Out Women's Casino Battle Royale back in 2019. And they're bringing that back again this year at All Out. Almost makes me wonder if we might see her again and other faces too. But of course, Deonna Purrazzo, the Virtuosa, who continues to hone her skills and build herself and her legacy, being the Knockout and Wrestler of the Year last year, doing it all, first ever Iron Woman of Impact Wrestling. And now will be defending this title on NWA territory at NWA Empower against the legend Melina, and virtually has been absolutely unstoppable. She now looks to become a collector of her own to add another title to her repertoire. Lady Fabe Apache, apologize if I screwed up that name, folks. She is nobody to take like that. She is old school, no nonsense. You best bring your best fight or she will break you. And I feel Deonna Purrazzo, with the added training through Alicia Sabatelli, of course, Invicta Bantamweight champion, I feel that this is going to help Deonna Purrazzo ascend even further. And I think Deonna Purrazzo is going to win this. It would be extremely surprising to me if Fabe Apache actually wins the Knockouts title and comes to Impact Wrestling. And that would also mean that she would take Deonna's place at NWA Empower. In this open world of professional wrestling multiverse where collaboration breeds competition among AEW, NJPW, NWA, GCW, with Nick Cage getting involved on AEW territory, and of course, the NWA, it seems like absolutely anything and any match is possible. And definition from Rampage last night with the Impact title changing hands back to a TNA original. I think both is going to be very stellar matches. I think this pay-per-view overall is going to be very interesting. And overall, I am looking forward to it. Which brings me, of course, to the main event for tonight, Saturday night, that I'm definitely looking forward to the most and can't wait to see. And that is, of course, the rebirth of the fans back live engaging right here in the good old United States of America for NJ Resurgence. Headlined, of course, by the United States Championship match and the Neverweight title being defended, and a grudge match being revisited over 5 years in the making. So let's go ahead and briefly talk about the card that's ahead, shall we? As of course, this will be representing the NJPW Strong brand, of course, the New Japan Pro Wrestling of USA's top brand right here in America as part of New Japan Pro Wrestling's global expansion. We have first, of course, have Alex Coughlin taking on Carl Fredericks. Alex Coughlin being the last young lion yet to graduate from Katsuyori Shibata's original class, but has constantly been out on a challenge match series to push himself as hard as ever, literally taking on everybody possible, including the Walking Women, Josh Alexander. Now he takes on the Alpha Wolf, Carl Fredericks, and in their singles record, they are 3-0-1 in Fredericks' favor. With Alex Coughlin being the last one yet to graduate, can he finally get his first victory in what could be his biggest match to date against former student with him, Carl Fredericks? While Carl Fredericks has all the possible confidence in the world, I feel like right now he really wants to expand his moveset and his wardrobe. And honestly, a win here could finally maybe ditch him of the black trunks. So I'm going to say that Alex Coughlin here pulls out the victory and the upset. Moving on from there, we go into 6-man tag team action. As Fred Rosser, Rocky Romero, and Willa Yuta, who's been heavily involved in AEW as part of the Best Friends, get well soon Trent, will take on TJP, Clark Connors, and Red Narita in 6-man action. As TJP, of course, was an original Dojo member and has been heavily involved in New Japan Pro Wrestling across multiple platforms, including previous Super J Cup. And of course, we now have, of course, our Japanese young lions of let me get the names right. Yuya Uemura, almost forgot. Sorry, folks. And Yota Tsuji on Excursion as well. If you wonder if one of them might show up and make a statement tonight, could very well be maybe from here. This is going to be a very dynamic six-man tag, and I feel like TJP is going to try to be the leader of his team, though Clark Connors is the captain, so maybe they're going to butt heads. And Rocky Romero, of course, feels going to lead Yuta and Fred Rosser. With that being said, Fred Rosser, I think definitely is the X factor in this match because honestly, I feel like he's capable of anything. Wheeler Yuta, of course, being the independent wrestling world champion, I believe. It's a very diverse mix, and this match could go any person's way. But looking at the field, I'm actually going to go with, oh boy, this is a tricky one. Rocky Romero, of course, being the experienced veteran here. I'm going to go with Rocky Romero's team, as Rocky Romero, of course, has been literally on a path of redemption as he wants to claim NJPW gold once again. Ultimately, he wants the Junior Heavyweight Championship, but I feel he wants to accomplish major things here in Strong as well. Of course, his team falling out in the tag team turbulence as the Good Brothers took that. We'll talk more about that later. But that being said, I feel like here that Rocky Romero is going to lead his team to victory, which now leads me to a huge 10-man tag as we have Team Filthy, who just got a whole lot stronger with the addition of the West Coast Wrecking Crew, for those that watch NJPW Strong, and yes, I do too. Tom Lawler, JR Kratos, and Tom Lawler, of course, still the strong openweight champion, first ever, still holding the gold. Well done. Jarrell Nelson, Royce Isaacs, and Danny Limelight, Team Philby, take on this dynamic duo team of Leo Rush, Brody King, Chris Dickinson. Of course, you know a couple of these members represent Violence Unlimited. Fred Yahi, and Yuya Uemura, who has currently been brought to Excursion for NJPW Strong, NJPW USA. Of course, his fellow young lion, I believe, Yota Tsuji, I think is going to be involved in Rev Pro with Shota Umino. And unfortunately, folks, Shota Umino will not be here because of travel restrictions. With that being said, Leo Rush is definitely at the forefront of this team, as Leo Rush will be challenging Tom Lawler during the Fight Spirit Unleashed Tour for the Strong Openweight Championship, continuing to finish out his obligations before he retires to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And literally, we saw Kazuchika Okada send Uemura off to Excursion. This is going to be a very interesting match. Uemura is going to be out to prove a point, and Leo Rush is going to be out here to try and garner momentum. This is one of those matches where you look at who's going to have more going into it to back themselves up confidently ahead of the title match. Those are the two things you need to look at here. With all these other combustible elements, though, this match could truly go either way, and we're going to see what sort of new attitude Uemura brings now to the LA USA scene. I think I have to go with, just on the unknowns to wait to be shown here alone, I'm going to go with Team Leo Rush for the win here to send a statement to Tom Lawler ahead of their NJPW Strong Openweight Championship match. And I feel that there's going to be a huge breakdown during and afterwards too, where Tom Lawler somehow is going to get the last word, but Leo Rush will be the one standing victorious, even if he is taken out. This is going to be a wild 10-man bout, folks. Get ready. We move on from there, go to a singles match. Juice Robinson takes on Hikuleo. And this is a bit of a surprise match right here, as it was kind of added like out of nowhere at the last moment. But of course, these two are no strangers to each other. Hikuleo, the young gun of Bullet Club, takes on the flamboyant one, Juice Robinson, who of course has been tag teaming with David Finlay as part of FinJuice. And basically right here, this just comes down to one thing. Hikuleo wanted competition. And with Juice, he never backs down from a fight. I sense this is going to be a very good test for Hikuleo, who of course has been a heavy dominant influence, both on NJPW Strong and more recently AEW Dark after a great AEW Dark match and challenging Lance Archer for the US title. I feel that Hikuleo is going to be out here to prove a point as he continues to try and grow in LA himself, and we really wonder where DLD is. So I'm actually going to go with Hikuleo pulling out the win here. There's not much more to say about this match. Now we get to the actual meat and beans of the card as my Alexa goes off. Alexa, stop. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. This is the match I think that's going to be matched tonight, because anyone who knows me as a New Japan Pro Wrestling fan, I love the fact that they weigh themselves heavily on fighting spirit, physical warfare, stronger will. Homura Ishii, known as the Stone Pitbull, will take on Impact Wrestling's Moose. And this, guys, is not their first time encounter, as these two go all the way back to Ring of Honor in 2016, where Ishii got the win. When it comes to facing Tomohiro Ishii, you better clench your teeth, lock your jaw, and close your fist if you're going to take this guy out. Because while Moose says he's going to show everybody what pain feels like, Tomohiro Ishii thrives off pain. Stone Pitbull, former never openweight champion, multi-time, and currently 1/3 of the 6-man overweight champions. That being said, Moose is going to be out here to clearly prove a point, coming off a loss in the recent number one contenders battle royale, and basically in a blood feud, it seems, with Chris Sabin Impact Wrestling, where they are one-on-one. And it was incredible seeing Moose live at Slammiversary beat, no, he didn't beat Chris Sabin botch, but Chris Sabin got on a roll-up, but he beat Chris Sabin with an inch of his life. This match is going to be definitely a true test for both these men, and whether or not this is a one-off for Tomohiro Ishii right here in the USA before he goes back to Japan, maybe to defend once again the 6-man titles. I am just really looking forward to seeing who can make the other one suffer more pain. But I don't bet against the Stone Pitbull ever in singles action. If you're going to beat Ishii, you're going to do it by dirty means. You're going to need an army. Evil, Jay White. And if you do claim a one-on-one victory on Ishii, then you know you made something of yourself and you know you belong in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And while I think Moose is an extraordinary athlete, I think Tomohiro Ishii is just that much better. And this is New Japan Pro Wrestling, not Impact Wrestling. So I got to go with the Stone Pitbull for the win. But I guarantee you, this will be probably match of the night. Which moves us to a surprising match here as Jon Moxley and X take on the Good Brothers, Cara Anderson and Dargals, the current Impact World Tag Team Champions after a successful defense this past Wednesday on Dynamite against the Dark Order, Stu Graves and Evil Uno. Stu Graves, by the way, extraordinary athlete. He could definitely be a future challenger for the TNT title. I could see him involved in Impact Wrestling going after the X Division title. That's how damn good he is. That being said, the biggest question here, Jon Moxley says, bringing a drinking buddy. Who could that be? People have thought about, oh, maybe it's the Elite Hunter, Kazarian. Maybe it could be Sami Callihan. Maybe it could be somebody from Jon Moxley's past in New Japan Pro Wrestling that he actually worked with before. Maybe it could be somebody as wild as Satoshi Kojima or Yuji Nagata has both been involved in New Japan of America. Bottom line is this match would not be declared as big as it is unless Jon Moxley is bringing something that is, once again, Forbidden Door worthy. And that's why I believe that Jon Moxley will find a way to outsmart the Good Brothers. Dear God, don't let it be Toriano. And I feel that he will get the win. And honestly, based on what New Japan Pro Wrestling does, this could lead Jon Moxley and his partner to an Impact World Tag Team Championship opportunity. Just saying. But I think Jon Moxley's partner is going to win. I think it'd be wild if it was Eddie Kingston, but I don't think it's him. I'd love to know your thoughts, comments, opinions down below, as we literally are 4 hours away from the show. Which leads us to one half of our double main event as Jay White defends the Never Openweight Championship against David Finlay. The record standing 10-2 in White's favor, but the last win went to David Finlay that eliminated Jay White from the New Japan Cup. And ever since then, Jay White promised that you will never defeat me again. And he made it his personal plan and vendetta to ensure that happens, including recruiting Blaze member of the Bullet Club, invading Impact Wrestling, Chris Bay. Congratulations. And of course, Chris Bay and Jay White have both carried out the agenda of taking out Finjuice, especially David Finlay. As of course, Jay White stood over his prone adversary after throwing a chair at his face and hitting a blade right to him on a chair face first. Since Jay White claimed the Never Openweight Championship against Hiroshi Tanahashi, this Never Openweight title has taken on a whole new gleam and it seems identity in life. What was once a brash, rugged, really set through the paces and shortened careers type vendetta that people endured and tried to hold strong in the likes of Goto, Kenta, let me get my names right here, Shingo, Minoru Suzuki, Tomohiro Ishii, Toga Makabe, the list goes on and on. Jay White has turned this now into a long-term standing professional wrestling belt to go after, and it comes down to who so more is the better wrestler here, not the better brawler or hitter. You don't necessarily need a hard jaw or closed fist to claim the Neverweight Championship, as Hiroshi Tanahashi proved when he beat Shingo Takagi, and I still couldn't believe that happened. That being said, if David Finlay wins this here, I feel it derails anything that Jay White has going for him, and he will be more heavily involved here in New Japan America. So I kind of go with Jay White picking up the win here by any means necessary. It wouldn't surprise me if Chris Bay shows up here tonight and helps Jay White successfully defend the Neverweight Championship, being the newest member. Also, you wonder, was Jay White really here only for one recruit? Did he come alone? Is there more to Jay White being here in America than meets the eye besides David Finlay? After all, he did look at Kenny Omega. We had the face-to-face Slammiversary. I think Jay White versus Kenny Omega is imminent, but whether or not it's for gold or golds or something else, this Bullet Club Civil War is more realistic than ever, and I feel it is coming in the very short near future. Question is where, when, how, and with who. I'm just saying, we haven't seen GOD since they lost the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships to Dangerous Tekkas. Just stay tuned, folks. That's all I gotta say. And again, Finlay, he's looking really for his first real piece of singles gold in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I know he's gonna fight his heart out, but right now, just based on story elements alone, I feel Jay White has to retain this here. It would be a huge upset, in my opinion, if David Finlay wins this title. Not counting him out, but I'm going with the Switchblade. Which brings us to the main event of the show. The IWGP United States Championship being defended by the Murder Hawk, Lance Archer, who successfully claimed this title off Jon Moxley in a Texas death match. Good grief almighty, recently on Dynamite, and successfully defended against Young Gun Hikuleo, has now been challenged by Hiroshi Tanahashi, who once again comes back to America to wrestle under New Japan Pro Wrestling and looks to complete his Grand Slam, similar to Jay White, claiming this title. When I thought he couldn't claim the Never Openweight Championship, I was truly shocked that he was able to do that. And that match went for 40 minutes practically. When Kota Ibushi, who still is under health issues, could not successfully go after the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Shingo Takagi at Wrestle Grand Slam, the Ace had to step up, take the place, and he took Shingo to the absolute limit, literally channeling a Kamigoye in Kota Ibushi, nearly getting the win. Would I count Hiroshi Tanahashi out in this match? You never count out the Ace. This is the guy that literally took NJPW on his back and made it thrive and survive through its darkest times when you thought this company would go belly up, especially during and after Inokiism. You can never go against the Ace nor count out the Ace here. And I feel that this truly is going to be Lance Archer's biggest test to date as a wrestler and as a champion. When I look at the IWGP United States Champion, I look at strength, I look at durability, I look at longevity. As of course, Jon Moxley had this title for over a year. But that being said, there's also been previous matches with Archer and Tanahashi back when Archer was part of Suzuki-gun and Killer Elite Squad, and Lance Archer has yet to claim a singles victory over Hiroshi Tanahashi. So will the Ace come back in here tonight and close us out with a concert as the new IWGP United States Champion? Or will Lance finally get a prayer answered and successfully defeat Hiroshi Tanahashi and continue his wild ways as the IWGP United States Champion after fighting to get this title back for so damn long? I have to say, looking at the direction of NJPW America, I feel that Tanahashi can win this, but Lance needs to win this. Hiroshi Tanahashi has done absolutely everything, and there's no doubt in my mind he's going to be a participant again in this year's G1. He deserves it, but I feel that Lance Archer right now needs to be the guy to lead this resurgence, no pun intended, of the New Japan Pro Wrestling of America brand, and also keep on preserving this title across AEW and all comers. At this point, I'm just waiting for Togi Makabe to show up and try and challenge for the belt. Again, in this open, diverse world of professional wrestling, absolutely anything is possible. So with that being said, I feel Lance Archer is finally going to get that long-awaited victory over the Ace of New Japan and solidify himself truly deserving of the IWGP United States Champion. It's as simple as that. With that being said, that is your Saturday night preview, simple takes, and outlook ahead for August 14, 2021 with TripleMania, having so much more. But again, I'm not going to I know everything about TripleMania because I can only keep up with so much wrestling. It's as simple as that. But I definitely look forward to Resurgence. I'm going to be zooming with my ATW crew, and maybe I'll bring a simple take too. We'll have to wait and see. With that being said, you want to know more about me, know this. I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Follow me here on Twitter, on Instagram, and Fox916 for all sort of wrestling ventures, outlooks, reviews, hype, energy, and previews in your day. And of course, discussions too. I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below or on Twitter. And if you ever want to collab and just talk wrestling, anything wrestling, anyone wrestling, love to hear, let you know, because wrestling is constantly ever widely expanding. It's as simple as that. With that being said, other things to come up in this wild world of professional wrestling for the month of August. Stay tuned as I will be back with the NoDQ Galaxy predictions panels. We will go over SummerSlam and NXT TakeOver 36. It might be the last takeover as we know it. We also, of course, have a ton more coming up, including Impact Wrestling's next monthly Impact Plus special, Emergence. That will be headlined by Christian defending the Impact World Championship against Brian Myers. And we also have Jake Something taking on Josh Alexander for the X Division Championship. We, of course, also have another all-elite week ahead of us that starts Monday night with Elevation, Tuesday nights with Dark, the greatest 2 hours you can watch every week, and the wildest, most unpredictable time with AEW Dynamite. And, of course, another wild edition of AEW Rampage with Triple the Crown on hand, where the wrestling world might change forever. The best in the world shows up in Chicago at Rampage's The First Dance. This and so much more coming up the month of August. And literally, this is next week, Friday. Folks, if you haven't looked at Rampage yet, highly encourage you to. And stay tuned for this one especially. And of course, at the end of the month, I hope to join the Jeff Meacham Network for either a watch-along, a review, and maybe even film predictions too on both the NWA pay-per-views, the all-women's one and NWA 73. And again, we will have so much collaboration with AEW and Impact Wrestling as well, with Empower especially. So stay tuned for more on that. And as always, folks, I like to close that represents ATW. There are no winners, there are no losers, there are no betters. There are just friends with their own opinions for this passion we all share. So at the end of the day, folks, no matter where you stand or who you are, who you think you are, and what you know, support one another and respect each other. And just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. Simple as that. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. It's good to be back bringing you simple content, coverage, and discussions on all things wrestling. Whether or not I do this again live at some point, only time will tell. But I would love to hear from you. So please like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend, hit the bell when this video goes live or record on this channel. Hit the subscribe button, help me keep growing the channel, and shout out to all 260 of us with me on this fun Universe Rage Drake. It's not laying up anytime soon. And even with moving, I promise to bring more forward, simple content and coverage too. And maybe a wrestling shirt versus the blazer and pins too. We'll have to wait and see. Until then, enjoy your Saturday night. Take care. I appreciate you all. Go Kenyo. Good evening. And have a good night. And if you can, enjoy both TripleMania and NJ Resurgence. Boy, what a time to be a professional wrestling fan. Take care.